नमस्कार दोस्तों, हर संडे की तरह आज भी आपके साथ जुड़ चुका हूँ। मैं हमेशा कुछ न कुछ आपको देने की कोशिश करता हूँ। वजह ये होती है कि आपको आपके बैंक के परिचालन में उसका फ़ायदा मिले और आपको एक सोचने का सब्जेक्ट भी मिल जाए जिसका उपयोग आपको आपके बैंक के परिचालन में हो सकता है। मुझे अच्छा लगता है कि बहुत सारे लोग जब वीडियो को रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं और सवाल भी पूछते हैं। हमेशा सवाल पूछिएगा क्योंकि सवाल पूछने से ही हम लोग ज़्यादा प्रगल्भ, ज़्यादा मैच्योर हो सकते हैं और डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस ज़्यादा मैच्योर हो सकती है। आज मैं एक पुराने टॉपिक पे बात करने वाला हूँ। पुराना टॉपिक है ना, वो हमारे ज़हन में है लेकिन हम उसको तवज्जो नहीं देते हैं। द टॉपिक व्हिच आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस इज एक्सट्रीमली क्रिटिकल. इट इज इन आवर ब्लड, बट वी डोंट रियली रियलाइज दैट इट इज इन आवर ब्लड. मेरे एक दोस्त हैं जो रिजर्व बैंक से रिटायर हो चुके हैं, सीजीएम रहे हैं. मैं उनका नाम भी लेना चाहूँगा, श्री डी काले. काले साहब ने 6-7 महीने पहले मुझे एक टॉपिक पे छेड़ा था कि इसके ऊपर आप क्यों नहीं वीडियो बनाते हो. इंसिडेंटली काले साहब का इस विषय में रुचि होना और इंटरेस्ट होना, उसकी वजह ही अलग है, क्योंकि वो प्रेसिडेंट है डिपॉजिटर्स प्रोटेक्शन का. जो कोई संस्था है उसके वो प्रेसिडेंट रह चुके हैं, शायद अब भी है. तो उन्होंने मुझे ये कहा था कि the urban cooperative banks are not paying attention to the protection of depositors' interest. That's what he was talking, and I should make a video on this particular topic. It has taken me 6 months down the line to talk about the depositors' protection. In fact, somewhere in the August last year, that is August 22, there was a question in Lok Sabha. And the question was what the government of India is doing to protect the interests of depositors of the financial institutions, something like that. And Minister of State for Finance, Dr. Bhagwan Karad, responded to the query. If you, the response of Dr. Karad is available on the Lok Sabha website and you can read it. He was harping on the actions by the DICC, the modifications in the DICC, the depositors insurance cover, which has gone up to 5 lakhs, so on and so forth, and a family can get a cover of 20 lakhs, something like that. This was so far good. This was absolutely good. But it was not answering the real question which the bankers must face themselves. And when I say bankers, when it comes to the urban cooperative banks, it's extremely important that the members of the board should pay attention to this. Which subject? What your bank is doing to protect the interest of the depositors. Forget about DICC, forget about Government of India, and even forget about the Reserve Bank of India. You have mobilized money from depositors. You are doing business on the basis of depositors' money in your bank. They have trusted you. They have put all their lives' money with you. What as a board member or what as a CEO or what as an MD you have done special for protecting the interest of your bank's depositors. The depositors are poor, they know you, they keep money with you. You have been giving them service, they don't ask you the critical questions. They don't even read your reports, the annual reports and the notes which are forming the part of your accounts. They don't understand this. They trust you. You have won their trust. After winning the trust, your responsibility goes up very heavily, is what I believe. You have accepted the money from the depositors on trust, and you cannot say that there is DICC which will give you cover of rupees 5 lakhs and you keep deposit of up to rupees 5 lakhs only with me. No, you cannot be saying that. You cannot be doing that. You have obtained a license from Reserve Bank of India, and therefore I personally feel that there are a couple of mandatory returns and reports which are required to be presented to the board. That's what the Reserve Bank of India diktat is. How many banks really discuss these financial statements which are required to be tabled to the board every month, every quarter, every half year? Do we discuss them? If not, start doing it, because that's where you will really understand where your bank is. Having said that, there was one question, there was one argument which I was facing recently, that this Depositors Education Fund has got some 50,000 crores. Depositors Education Fund is created out of the unclaimed deposits which are with you, and you are required to remit them. Maybe this is 8-10 years story where you remit the unclaimed deposits which are not operated for a period of 10 years to Reserve Bank of India, which is contributed to the Depositors Education Fund, and the depositor, whenever he is approaching the bank with the KYC, you can claim the money from them. Some of the bankers were asking me a question, ये पैसा हमें हमारा वापस दे दो, रिजर्व बैंक क्यों यूज कर रही है? I mean, I think poorly about this kind of logic for the simple reason. This money Reserve Bank of India is using to spread awareness. What you are doing to spread the awareness? आप सब जानते हैं, टीवी पे आजकल एक एड चलता है, आरबीआई कहती है, since the banking has become digital, lot of digital products have come, the Reserve Bank of India is focusing on the digital products, and therefore it is creating awareness campaign. There are a lot of initiatives which are being initiated. Some other day I'll make a video on this particular as to how RBI is dealing with this money. पर ये सोचना कि हमारा पैसा रिजर्व बैंक में ले लिया, ये सोच ही गलत है. ये सोच क्यों गलत है? तुम्हारा पैसा है नहीं बॉस. जो डिपॉजिटर आपके पास छोटा मोटा डिपॉजिट रख के ऊपर चला गया या कहीं और चला गया, उसको पता भी नहीं है, आप उसको ट्रेस नहीं कर पाते हो. आप उसको ट्रेस नहीं कर पाते हो. आपके पास कितने इनऑपरेटिव अकाउंट्स है, क्या ट्रेस करते हो आप? I have not seen many banks really focusing on the inoperative accounts, trying to locate them and ask them to revive the relationship. That's not happening. That's not happening. And therefore, it gives a serious situation whereunder what banks individually are doing for the depositors' protection. Is the board aware that their existence is on the basis of depositors' protection? Don't bring in DICC here. No. DICC is when you are dead. So as long as you are alive, you need to take actions that you don't become dead. And therefore, certain things force me to talk to you on the depositors' education and how an urban cooperative bank can really seriously think of that and really take some steps, some initiatives which will ensure that you are trying to do something for your depositors. You have been doing a lot of things for your borrowers. You are offering them lower rate of interest. You are offering them concessions. You are offering them relief from process fees. You are offering them several freebies and time for execution of mortgages. Granting them every now and then ad hoc limits. At whose cost? At whose cost? It is at the cost of depositors. You are accommodating all your borrowers. कल बैंक बंद हो जाता है तो ये बोरोवर वाला बंदा घूमता भी नहीं है बैंक में, लेकिन डिपॉजिटर्स जो है वो परेशान होके थक जाते हैं. एक पीएमसी क्या हो गया, पूरे सेक्टर की क्रेडिबिलिटी को डेंट लग गया. हम ये डेंट से उभर पाए एक ही वजह थी, क्योंकि पीएमसी में तो फ्रॉड हुआ था. लेकिन द क्रेडिबिलिटी ऑफ द अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक सफर्ड. To me, this suffering was principally because banks are not doing enough for their depositors. You will ask me question, भाई क्या करना है और कितना करना है? One of the most important thing which I would like to share with you is that create awareness within the board and within the bank, that all your actions must smell of the protection for the depositors. ना आप मुझे पूछेंगे यार ये लोन के प्रोडक्ट में हम लोग डिपॉजिटर्स का इंटरेस्ट कैसे प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, वो कहाँ से आएगा? हम उनको अच्छा रेट देंगे, हम उनको सर्विसेज देंगे, हम उनको फैसिलिटीज देंगे, सो फार सो गुड. Rate of interest is the last thing that should come on your mind for protecting the depositors. Why it should come last? For the simple reason, gone are the days where the urban cooperative banks were granting 0.5% or 1% more than what the market rate was. In fact, Reserve Bank was also lenient at that time. The urban cooperative banks were allowed to grant 0.5%, 1% more. That is not the story now. That is not the story now. The story is your interest rate structure should be in tandem with the market rate. And many depositors have started understanding this. The more you have rate of interest matching on par with the State Bank of India or any big public sector bank, the literacy rate amongst your depositors is such they understand that you are a good bank. The moment you try to give higher rate of interest for whatever reason, they understand that things are not good. You have a liquidity crunch. These are the days now. Rate badhao, you will have problems because there will be queries from the depositors. क्या problem है क्या? क्या प्रॉब्लम है? क्यों रेट बढ़ा रहे हो? डिपॉजिट मोबिलाइज करना है क्या? सर्विसेज से मोबिलाइज करो रादर देन रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. मोबिलाइजेशन ऑफ डिपॉजिट शुड नाउ शिफ्ट फ्रॉम रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट टू सर्विसेज. And I can guarantee you that all depositors are not looking at your interest rate structure. They are looking at the services and the efficiency that you display. Remember, in terms of number, your balance sheet is such that the number of borrowers and investors, that is the asset side of your balance sheet, and the number of clients are almost equal to 10% of your total relationship on the liability side. आपके पास डिपॉजिटर अगर 1 लाख है तो आपके बोरोवर 15,000 होंगे. जस्ट हैव अ लुक एट दिस नंबर एंड व्हाट यू आर डूइंग. You are ignoring the large chunk of depositors, the large number of customers, and focusing on few individuals. Say 10% of your clients, 10% of your deposit clients are borrower clients. Try to shift the gear. Try to shift the gear, not suddenly, not overnight. But it is extremely important that depositors protection should be imbibed in all your policies, whether it is investment, treasury, or whatever. None of us are really placing the depositors protection philosophy in any of the other policies which are for the asset side products. The asset side products are typically for the people who take money from you because that's where your profit comes up. And many banks even don't have the deposit policies. It's only Reserve Bank of India insisted on having that policy. Some banks have their deposit policy now. They have their deposit policy. But within this deposit policy, do we have or have we incorporated the depositors protection? The steps that are to be taken for the depositors protection? None of the depositors policy will talk of depositors education by the bank itself. We need to do that. We need to do that. All your social media handles and everything should focus on depositors education, giving information, giving knowledge, sharing knowledge. That is part one. The part two is I don't want to drive at not giving anything to the borrowers. Yes, you will have to give because that's where your bottom line lies. Your bottom line is not within your balance sheet, it is outside the balance sheet. Then therefore you have to pamper the borrowers, is fine. But in pampering the borrowers, you are ignoring the depositors. That's a sin that you're committing. Don't do that. We need to change the gear. The world is changing. The entire economy is changing. And therefore, depositors protection should become your priority and you need to take action to be seen, to be believed. 100 campaign undertake meetings, we are focusing as the urban cooperative bank, we are focusing on members. Members is interested in dividend, but depositor is only focusing on the interest that you give it to him. And therefore, it is necessary that we must refocus on all our actions towards the depositor where there is a captive business for you. We don't do that. We don't do that. We need to really revisit this particular subject of depositors protection. Do you know that almost every state government in the country has passed a depositors protection bill? Every state, and they encompass almost every financial institution in their respective state. What are they doing? They are trying to protect the interests of depositors, whether it is NBFC, whether it is credit cooperative, whatever. Why this is required? This is required because we want to grow as a good and stable economy. You being an urban cooperative banker, understand that you have mopped up almost 6 to 7 lakh crore depositors from the country. But our focus is towards the 4 or 5 lakh crore advances which are built. And therefore, your board must understand that there has to be a critical discussion on the depositors protection almost every quarter as to what are the initiatives that we have taken, what are the steps that we have taken. Having said that, I would like to draw your attention to the regulatory norms which are being prescribed. Look at the norms. Look at the norms. Even if RBI doesn't write that it is trying to protect the depositor, every regulatory norm focuses on protecting your bank's depositor, your bank's member. हमें लगता है कि हम लोग यार वो आईरेक नॉर्म में, सेटलमेंट में, राइट ऑफ में, इसमें उसमें रिजर्व बैंक ने बहुत टाइट करवा दिया है. क्यों करवा दिया है? बिकॉज रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया वुड लाइक टू कंट्रोल द इंटरेस्ट, प्रोटेक्ट द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ योर डिपॉजिटर्स. DICC वो सब आप ऊपर जाने के बाद है, अभी नहीं. आप ऊपर नहीं जाओ, आप बीमार नहीं पड़ो, that you should not be sick. The entire regulatory framework focuses on that. And if you look at your inspection report, you will find that even while protecting the depositors, the Reserve Bank of India is focusing on concentration of deposits. Why it is doing so? It is doing so principally because to ensure that your bank should not be hijacked by a group of individuals. That is one part. And the risk that you are creating in your liabilities by concentration of deposit in the top 20 accounts, that's what the worry is for the Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India would always like you to protect the interests of depositors by way of devising such great business policies wherein the money is safe. You can't be a reckless lender. You have to ensure that the depositors' money which you use for lending is recovered from the borrower. Don't be frugal there. आपको तो ये सोचना ही चाहिए कि अगर अपनी बैंक किसी बंदे को पैसा दे रही है तो वो डिपॉजिटर का पैसा दे रही है, इसलिए वो बंदा पैसे वापस ही करना चाहिए. You cannot do reckless lending. And that's where the intervention of the board is what Reserve Bank of India is wary of. Reserve Bank of India is clearly stated that no member of the board should canvass any credit proposal, should not involve in any of the credit decisions where he or she is interested. Keep a safe distance, arm's length. Why it is being stated? To protect the interest of the depositors. I wish that the video that I am trying to create or make is only to invite the attention of the banks particularly on this forgotten subject. Why I say subject is forgotten? Why I initially said that it is in your DNA? Because you are aware. You are aware. It's only that you are not taking action which are to be seen, which are to be real. That's where I am trying to drive you at. So devise schemes, devise methods whereunder You will do real-time things to protect the interest of your depositors. Actions, educate them, inform them, involve them. You know that no borrower can be a member of the board. So don't tell me theoretically all your depositors are the members of the board. No, no. How the people have become member, I know. You also know. You also know how the person becomes a member on the board. He has to be only a depositor. Fine. After becoming a depositor, does your director takes care of depositors' interest? Is your bank transparent in disclosures? Are you protecting depositors' interest? Are you giving additional information to the depositor in your notes to the accounts in your annual report? Are you devoting a separate paragraph? Is the chairman talking about your depositors' benefit in the annual report that you publish? That's where the quality will speak. I am not going all technical on the depositor protection because I am not going to talk about the DICC. You all know that. My only thing is that the philosophy of protection of depositors' interest should be uppermost if you are managing banking operations. Now, if you want to manage banking operations with the blessings of your depositors, act innovatively. Do it for the depositors. Bring technology for the depositors. That will ensure that you are doing everything to protect the interests of depositors. आपको कभी कुछ सवाल है, आपको अगर मेरे विचार अच्छे लगते हैं, आपको अगर मेरी सोच अच्छी लगती है, तो ये वीडियो लाइक कीजिएगा, सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा, शेयर कीजिएगा, अपने दोस्तों को बताइएगा. Please come back to this channel next Sunday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Thank you for watching me. Thank you so much.